This is Module 3. Module 3 titled Information Gathering. Information Gathering. And in this course, this module will be discussing on how to ensure that every step of an investigation, from the first conversation to the final evidence, is legally defensible. For the first conversation to the final evidence log is defensible and provisionally executed so that it can be admissible in the at the court as evidence at the court. Um, the first thing we'll be talking about is the stages of an information. Sorry, the stages of an interview. The stages of an interview. Uh, let's talk about preparation first. Preparation. Research the interview. The first thing is to research the interview using open source intelligence known as OSINT. Know the relationship to the case before you meet. Before you begin to interview uh, an interview, the best thing is to use an OSINT. Use OSINT. Use OSINT uh, to conduct a kind of background search on him so that you can know a lot of details about him before you start your your interview. This will help you a lot. For example, beforehand, you know the circle of friends that is keeping. You know the kind of you know his orientation towards. You may know his orientation towards opposite sex. You may know his background, like finance, like many other things, through uh, OSINT. You may know whether this person is um, violent or not, and a lot of things like that. So this one will help you to channel your where to channel your questions and how to construct your questions. Um, the next thing under stages of an interview, apart from preparation, is uh, rapport building. Rapport building. Because you want to extract information, you want to get correct information, you have to make him to feel relaxed, to feel loved, uh, to remove any kind of hostility from the environment. So you have to establish a non-threatening environment. So people provide more information when they feel respected rather than interrogated. Rather than interrogated. That we said the other time that interview and interrogation are not the same. When you are interviewing a fellow, you are asking question that will make him to divulge some information to you, not by force, not by coercing, and not by telling him that you believe that he has done so, that you only need his confirmation. No. So, but interrogation is totally different. When interrogating, is like you are telling somebody that you are an accused, you are the one who stole this thing, for example, and I want you to confess. So I have already gotten some evidence against you, but I want you to use your mouth to cooperate with me. So interrogation and an interview are not the same. When a suspect feel that is interviewed, he can release some information to you willingly, but when he feel interrogated, he may not, especially when he's just a suspect and he's not a culprit. Yeah, and it's not a criminal, and it has not been established that he has done it. So there are two. So that is it. So you have to build rapport. Rapport building is the second stage, and the third stage is the narrative. Narrative. Allow the subject to tell their story without interruption. When they start talking, listen attentively. Do not interrupt. And if I uh, asking question, make sure you use open-ended questions. Open-ended questions. Open-ended questions. Such as, tell me what happened next. Tell me what happened next. Rather than leading questions. You saw him take the money, right? You want him to say, yes, I saw him. Whereas when you use leading questions, you may speak to the mouth the of the interviewee, or you may make him to see something that he couldn't have said originally, but probably he thought that that is what you want. So he will say yes. I begin to form a story towards that, or to say no and begin to give a story that is against that, if he is suspecting that what you are the leading question will put him into trouble. But allow him to tell his story. Just allow him to tell his story. So from his story you can pick what you need. Then the fourth stage is the challenge. The challenge. Only after the narrative is complete should you point out any inconsistencies. If there's any inconsistencies, any inconsistency, then point it out later after the narrative. If you try it between or before he finish the narrative, you may make him to shut down. You may make him or her to shut down. So do this gently to avoid the subject shutting down. He may just keep quiet, or keep quiet on the story and begin another story that is totally different from that one, because it may sense, if it may sense that that you what he has said may likely put him to trouble. So let's go to information gathering techniques. Information gathering techniques. There are three techniques that will be under this that will be discussing, and the first is cognitive interviewing. Cognitive interviewing. Cognitive is cognition is talking about how our processes information, how our brain processes information. As the subject, um, in this number one, that is a cognitive interviewing, has the subject to recount event in a reverse order or from a different perspective. This often triggers lost memories, and it is a powerful tool when you want to detect deception. So if he has told you a story, then begin to ask him to tell the story from another perspective. For example, somebody is telling a story how a thief came to their home, while a suspect came to their home and stole some items, and he mentioned those items that were brought in on a certain day. Now, after the story, you may allow him to you may ask question like, on that day that he mentioned that the item was brought in, you may ask him to begin to tell him to narrate how the item was purchased and brought to the house. From there, you may begin to mention how those items, you may discover inconsistencies, like probably you may say that they brought the item home and they are maybe they are three, and in the former story he has said that they brought in like five of them. So and some other technique, I mean some other questions that may make him to tell the story from another perspective, because where you are going he may not know, but you want to bring out some things, you want to bring out some inconsistency from the word. So why tell the story from another perspective? If there are inconsistencies or any inconsistency, you may bring it out. You may detect it, you may detect deception, maybe he's hiding something, or he's dropping something that is not part of the story there in order to deceive. The another technique is the Colombo method. In this, you ask a critical by the way question, just as the interviewing is about to end. So and that time the interviewing, interview is lowering his guard. So you ask a question about what he just said, or about something that you believe he's supposed to have said that he didn't say. So this kind of uh, Colombo method can bring out something that he couldn't have said or ordinarily. Then another technique is that you try as much as possible to be active listener. So active listening is a technique. Is the third technique. Active listening. Active listening is that you are listening and you are going along with him. Going along with him. You are not just listening, but you are going along with him. So and you are processing everything that is said as you are recording them also. So and there are stages in your listening that you are jotting some things down, which you use as question later. That is, you are active in listening. It's different from when you are just allowing you to be talking, and you are not even uh, you are not processing what he's saying. Your probably your mind is not there, but your mind is only on the next question that you want to ask, whereas you are not totally listening to what he said. So that is not active listening. Active listening is when you listen, and also, so you when you are doing so, you maintain eye contact and use verbal clues to encourage the subject to keep talking. Okay, okay, continue. Okay, um, what happened next? So those are verbal clues. That means that you are encouraging him to speak, to continue talking. And another thing you can use in another thing, a part of active listening, is silence. Silence. There, as he's talking, you remain silent when he's still narrating some things. So but when he want to stop, now you may use verbal clue like, okay, the what next? I'm listening to you. So silence is a tool that must be used often. The subject will fill a long pause with crucial information. So um, let's move to evidence handling and a chain of custody. Evidence handling and a chain of custody. In court, evidence is only as good as the trail it leaves. It cannot, uh, if you cannot prove where a piece of evidence was every second since it was found or retrieved, then it may be ruled inadmissible. You cannot establish the chain of custody, then that evidence may be ruled as inadmissible. Let's me mention briefly types of evidence. Uh, about three of them. We have physical evidence, objects like clothing, weapons used, or discarded trash. So um, these are physical objects. I mean physical evidence. Then we have digital. These are evidence in your hard drives, from smartphones, from CCTV footage. So, okay, you may want to ask what are the objects that you can find in object like clothing? The DNA can be found in it. At times, you may the fiber of the victim, or fiber um, of the um, suspect may be found on that of the body of the victim. So weapon use, the fingerprint may be found on it, and DNA and some other other evidence. So it's inside the discarded trash, you may find things like object use, like blade, like scissors, or like condom used for raping, and some other things. You may find them there, or drug use in making a victim to lose his sense, or even the drug, the poison that was used to kill, to commit a murder, or to in a homicide case. So all those things can may be, they are called physical evidence. Then the digital are those evidence that may be found inside the hard drives, inside the CCTV footage, inside the smartphone, the picture, the files, the letters sent, the signature, the trail of email, and so many other things inside the hard drive, smartphone, and the CCTV footage. Then documentary, the third evidence, documentary, like the contracts, bank statement, or forged letters, will, and so on and so forth. These are evidence. So these are types of evidence. Then let's go back to the chain of custody, COC, chain of custody. The chain of custody is a chronological paper trail. Every person who handled the evidence must be documented. Their names, their signature, date, and time. So all this, we have form that we use for this, and at times the bag that you use for the evidence, that you use to package the evidence, may even have the form, that form on it. Let me give an example. This is a sample. This is sample. Look at it. You have the case number, you have agency, you have time, you have prepared by the name of the officer, you have a description of evidence, and so many other things. Then that is for the evidence. Then for the chain of custody form, you have received by, from, by, date, time. Look at it. Received from, by. So that is how you fill the form. That is, you can know who is handling at any time. For example, if Mr. A or Officer A or Investigator A retrieve a piece of evidence from, maybe from a crime scene, then he will have to document it, bag it, package it inside an evidence bag. This is an example of evidence bag. This is an example of evidence bag. So he will put it and seal it. Then this chain of custody form, after filling the information on the evidence, now fill the chain of custody form here. So assuming um investigator A collected it, I mean yes, retrieve or collected the evidence. Now you give it to another officer or another investigator, or maybe take it to the lab to submit it there. Whosoever that receive it will write it, receive from so 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 so, received by, this is received by the person that took it from you. Then the next one, you have date, you have time, then the another person, the next person that will hand it over, received by, so that it will have it chronological order like that. It may be like two person, somebody from the crime scene to the lab. On at the lab, the person that received from the lab will sign the form, I mean write his names, I mean fill the form and sign before he will begin to document it in their own office. So you have a copy of the form with you, and he also have a copy of it. So if anything happen to the evidence, you know who to handle. And the reason why chain of custody is to be maintained is that people may tamper with evidence. If evidence is tampered with, then you know who to call into order. So let's move forward. So the chain of custody must have a unique identifier. Assign a case number and item number to every piece of evidence. A case number and then another thing apart from unique identifier is evidence, the tamper evident packaging. It must be tamper evident packaging. That is, it must be sealed. So you have to use bags, evidence bag that will show if it has been tampered with, if the evidence has been tampered with. So it has to be sealed. Look at this one. It has to be sealed, totally sealed with sealed in a way that if anybody try to open it, it will show. Maybe open it, do anything in it, and then seal it back. It will surely show. So that is a evidence tamper bag. Then the log must include the date, as you found it on the uh, on this. You have date, you have time, and the name of the investigator. Then let's go to preventing contamination. Preventing contamination. Digital evidence. Uh, if you are working on digital evidence, never work on the original device. You have to use a write blocker to create a forensic image. No, forensic image is when you copy everything you have uh, inside the maybe hard drive or flash, inside this the device they use to save the information. So everything is copy, every bit is copy bit by bit, so nothing is left behind. So we call it forensic image. That is, everything you have inside the device is what you have in the new device. And the best is to use new device. The best is to use new device for to copy into. So um, you have to perform your analysis, or the expert that will help you to perform the analysis will have to work on the copied, the copy. You have to work on the copy, that is copied copy, that is the one that you just transfer copy everything into. So you have the original one will have to be kept intact somewhere. Then we have physical evidence. If you are working on physical evidence, like those things that we mentioned, like DNA, we want to extract DNA, collect DNA from the crime scene, fingerprint, foot impression, and many other things like that at the crime scene. What you need to do is to protect yourself, protect your own DNA from being deposited in or contaminating the scene. So by what do you use by doing so? You use what we call PPE. That is a personal protective equipment, like gloves, like a nose mask, and so on and so forth. Then um, let's move on to documentation and feed note. Documentation and feed note. Your feed notes are the primary memory of the investigation. If it isn't documented, then it didn't happen. If it is not documented, it didn't happen. So for feed notes, the best practice for feed note is to uh, enter any entry. Any information we want to enter must be done chronologically. So it must be done chronologically. Always use, and then you always use 24-hour hour clock to avoid the AM PM confusion, because you may mistakenly write PM while you wanted to write AM, and later that one may cause a lot of confusion. So but if you use 24 hours like a military time, like I got there at 17:11. 17:11 we know that is 5:11. So the issue of AM or PM will not come into we know that 17:11 is 5 p.m. So it won't confuse whether it is AM or not, because we will never have 17:11 twice in 24 hour. Unlike when you are using 12 hour AM PM format, that you can have 12 twice. We have 12 PM, we have 12 AM, which can later cause Then let's move to objectivity. Record facts, not feeling. Instead of written the subject look guilty, which may be which is questionable. He look guilty. How do you mean that he look guilty? But just write the subject began sweating. That is physical thing that you saw. That is evidence that you saw. He began sweating and avoided eye contact when asked about the bank transfer. That one, the interpretation of that thing those signs that you see is subjective. So you cannot just conclude that he felt guilty. No, just write what you saw. It's facts, not feeling. Facts are not feeling. So let's move on. The no erosion rules must be taken into consideration. What do I mean by that? If using a physical notebook, never tear out a page or white out mistake. If you want to cross out error, just use a single line. Then initial them, sign and continue. This proof you are not hiding anything. You are not hiding anything. Then investigators report. That is going to be the last thing that we're going to discuss this afternoon. Investigative report. The final report is the product you sell to the client or to a judge. It should follow this structure. It should follow this structure, even though there are no rigid way of writing a report, but there are some structure. There are some things that are supposed to be in a normal report. So this is a normal structure. The first thing is administrative summary. So, and that one we talk about who authorized the investigation and why. That is talking about scope, the scope. Then executive summary. Executive summary is the next thing. That is talking about a high level overview of the findings. So at instant, at a glance, someone who is reading the report can know, will be able to know what the findings is all about, what you have, your findings, what is your finding. Then later you now go to the third one, which is detailed findings. The detailed finding is when you write from the point of investigation to the last stage of your conclusion. For example, maybe you are investigating whether a lady is married or not. So for the day, you can just the summary, the high level overview of the findings may be that uh, the subject, Mrs. O. A. Dauda, is married, is legally married to Mr. Johnson Dauda. That is your finding. Now, began to, then the detail is about how you, all those places that you went to and confirm that he is married. The object that you saw that show that, maybe pictures, maybe video that you saw, that will also will be uh, part of the report. So because you can take pictures of those things, take the image of that thing and attach to the report. Then the exhibit is the fourth one. That is the attachment of photos, maps, if you have maps, and copies of evidence logs. So all these are uh, exhibit that you can attach to your report. Then professional ethics and legal boundaries. You have we want to repeat this one again. It's what we have discussed once in one of the previous modules, but let's repeat it again. Um, the first is privacy laws. Privacy laws. Be aware of expectation of privacy. Be aware of expectation of privacy. For example, you can film someone, a target or a subject in a public park, but not through their bedroom windows with a zoom lens. So then there's pretest. When you are using pretesting in some cases may be ethical to be used, but you have to be careful. While some uses are legal, impersonating law enforcement, medical professionals, or government officials is a crime. Um, you cannot tell anybody that you are a medical personnel because you want to find out about medical history of somebody. No, you cannot carry their ID card. That will be impersonation, and it's not going to be impersonation alone. You are impersonating and you are also forging. So forgery, impersonation will go, and many other things may go along against you. So do not try it. There are some questions you may ask that will make people to divulge information that you want from them, but do not impersonate any. Do not involve in impersonation. Data protection in Nigeria presently, under NDPR, we have acts that guides that give us guideline on how to or use people's information, how to collect, how to uh, use people's information, and how to make sure that you protect it. So in Nigeria, how you store a subject digital data is strictly regulated. So you have to ensure all digital files are encrypted so that somebody's Personal information will not leak out through you, or else you put yourself into problem. On the final note, a private investigator's greatest asset is not their camera or their computer. It is their credibility. Maintain that credibility. Rigorous documentation and ethical evidence handling will protect that credibility. This is where we are going to start today. Thank you and God bless you.